think of the first song that comes to your head and go.
Starry Eyes. I was just listening to it. It was in the.
Starry Eyes? What's that?
It's a body pump music.
Oh my, starry eyes surprise, sun down to sunrise, dance all night, we gonna dance all night to this DJ, sugar dance all night to this DJ.
Welcome to Nerdschatting, movie, TV, comic chat, thanks for tuning in.
Welcome everybody to the Nerdschatting podcast. My name is Nate, and with me tonight and today, with me is Ben, my very good friend Ben. It's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. Ben, I'm going to move the mic closer to you.
Okay.
I feel like it's further away from you than it should be.
Hello, Nathan. Thank you for moving my microphone. How are you?
Yeah, I'm actually really well. How are you?
I'm okay. You'll notice that I've put the Zoom on a little tripod this week.
Oh, yeah.
That's because last week when you were clackety-clacking,
Yeah.
and I had this audio from this,
Yeah.
it almost burst my eardrums, so I had to take it out.
That was my plan. Yeah,
so,
I was trying to burst your
good.
jumps.
Thank you for that.
Welcome everybody. We are the Nerdschatting. We talk about everything's movie, TV show, comic books, everything nerdy. This week we don't have a topic, but we've got some news and some Nerdscene. What the hell do you want from us? It's free entertainment. Just go with it, all right?
Oh, so aggressive. So aggressive. I would like to say we did sort of have a topic.
Yeah.
And then some news broke this evening that has sort of, well, it's put paid to that. So we're going to do...
That'll be part of the news.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We
yeah.
can talk about it.
Broken news.
This is broken news. It's not breaking. It's so old it's already broken.
That's
We're just
correct.
going to give you our opinion of the broken news.
Yes. What
first
do you
bit
know
of
about
news.
this first bit?
Nothing at all. Very sad though.
Okay, so James Lipton sadly passed away at 93, I believe.
Good innings.
It is a very good innings. James Lipton was the host of Inside the Actors Studio, which was a TV program that was, it basically got an actor in and they talked about their career and and they got asked random questions about things they like and who their parents are and what their process is and all that sort of thing. And it's done at a university in New York in front of trainee actors, basically, and it's to give them like an overview of who that actor is and how they do their job. And
Their method, their process.
Yeah, and he was brilliant at it. And I've put a link into the actual podcast description below. Please go to your podcast of choice, offering of choice, and look at the link that I've put in. It's an interview he did with the also late great James Gandolfini. When The Sopranos was still on, it was just going into, I think it's second to last season, and it's a fantastic episode. It's about 39 minutes long, and it's really, really great. And he was brilliant, and he had a really calm but authoritative voice, and he always ended every interview with like a set of like 10 questions, and the final question is, if heaven exists, when you get to the pearly gates, what do you want God to say to you when you get there? And James Gandolfini's answer to that question was, oh, well, just take care of everything for a while whilst I take a holiday or something like that. And it was brilliant and it was great. And he did it to, like, the first person he ever interviewed was Paul Newman. Huh. And he started in 1994 and he quit in 2018 when he was 91 years old.
Lazy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, a bit of a legend, and R.I.P. to him. He was great.
I mean, I recognise his face very much. He's been in stuff.
He's been parodied by Will Ferrell an awful lot on like Saturday Night Live and things like that.
He's just a face.
Yes,
a guy.
He's one of those guys that you've seen.
Guy. Yeah.
He's one of that
well, that's
guys.
sad, but
It is sad.
he brought great joy to people for a long time. So.
What a body of work he left behind as well. Fantastic.
Should we talk about some DC news?
Yes. How about some hot, breaking broken news?
Yeah, I mean, what's very peculiar is that usually we record a podcast and the very second we hit stop, something breaks in
Absolutely.
the nerd community.
Absolutely.
But what's really weird is this time it broke just before we started recording.
I know, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
So Matt Reeves, the director of the Apes movies and the director of the upcoming Batman movie,
titled
The Batman, has posted 3 pictures of the new Batmobile. And actually, more importantly, I think for me, is a better look at the Batsuit.
Yes, including the ears.
Yes, and it looks pretty great.
It does, doesn't it? It looks really, really good.
It's for me, it's a lot more proof that we're going down a air quotes real world Batman. because
Yes.
it's like a Mustang-y, dodgy type car
Yeah.
that's been souped
It's an
up.
American muscle car,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's American muscle car with an
Optional extras.
yes, exactly, yeah. And it's got the Batman look about it because it's got these sort of wings on the back, and the lights are, have like hooded lights that are inset.
Mm-hmm.
That it still looks like a car.
Yes.
It just looks like it's been jacked up.
Very Neil Adams, like some people are saying
Yes.
on the internet.
Yeah, yeah. And what do you make of the
suit.
The suit?
The closer look at the suit, it's like, I think it's like the third one where you're seeing the car from the rear, and you've got like the jet part of the.
Yes,
there is
yes,
part of
yes,
that.
yes.
And at the top of that image, you can see a very grey-looking bat suit with like a black cape.
Yes.
That is superb.
Is that chef's kiss for you?
That's very chef's kiss, because it's very reminiscent of some of my favourite comic book editions of the Batman suit.
Yeah.
Let's also remember that Batfleck's suit was a grey colour.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I really like it, and it looks so much like it's just taken straight out of the Arkham games. It's unbelievable. The gauntlets look slightly different as well. Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
No,
but
I don't
they're
know that's-
still
if that's
gauntlets.
yeah, they're still gauntlets.
I'm
absolutely.
not really okay with the gauntlets, which is the most pedantic nerd thing I've ever said.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, oh, I don't like his gauntlets.
No, his gauntlets are
but
shit.
but there's something about it. There's something about them that just look a bit clunky.
Sure, okay. I mean, it's going to be a very early version of his suit.
Yeah.
Very early version of his car.
Because thank God I've never seen Batman in his early days before.
All right, don't get sarcastic. It's the lowest form of wit, Nathan.
Yeah, I know. Look, I mean, it looks like it will be a quality movie from the very few things we've seen. I like the Batmobile. I like the style. I like the look, and I like the colour palette. Brown.
It does have a very brown look to it, doesn't it? I like the music with the suit reveal as well by Michael that guy.
Yeah, him.
Giacone. Whatever.
Yeah, it looks.
Looks
good.
great. It looks great.
Yeah, I mean, I need to see it moving. I need to see a trailer. I need to see the film.
Oh, come on now. It's it's over a year away, isn't it? It's going to take a little while, at least.
Or is it? Maybe it's more than a year away.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Enough about the Batmobile, or more about the Batmobile?
No, I think. Well, what more can you say? It looks like a Batmobile. It's like a American muscle car, souped up to look a bit batty.
Do you know what it is? It's a bit of a statement for being the opposite of the Tumbler and the Batmobile from BVS. It's not
very
a
much
tank.
so.
It's not a tank anyway.
No,
it's
it's not a tank. Yeah, it is a car. A very fast car by the looks of it, but
Yeah.
it is a car. Yeah. And it'll absolutely take damage. A lot of damage, probably. Yeah, but I don't know. This looks like a Batmobile that I'd want to drive, and they'll start to whatever this car is. When we get closer looks at it, sort of like in the daytime and things like that, this car will start to pop up at conventions and things like that soon. Because someone will go, "Oh, I've got an American muscle car that's black. I can put a couple of bits and pieces on it and make it look sexy." It'll turn up. Looks good. I'm all for it. I don't want a trailer yet. I can't have a trailer yet. They've only started filming like 3 weeks ago or something, didn't they?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this stuff is being leaked. Is being released because they're filming.
Yes,
so
and people are taking every picture going.
So we got the red lit Batsuit reveal, and the next day we got shots on
very
set.
quick, wasn't it? Yeah.
So obviously there's going to be some driving scenes. coming up soon.
I would have thought so. Yeah.
And they're probably going to be outside. What with them being car stuff. Should we move on to the next news story?
Sure, let's do it. Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Now, we haven't talked about 5G on the podcast yet, have we?
No, we haven't.
Or Dan Dididido?
No, I think we might have missed that bit. That might
Didio.
have happened between our last recording, and I forgot to put it on the. Yeah, well, you put it. We'll talk about it.
Danny D got fired, or left, or his contract ended, or he no longer works for DC, but we don't know why.
Yes, Dan Didio.
Him, yeah,
Didio has left
Didido,
DC.
yeah.
He is no longer one of the joint co-publishers of DC Comics.
But he used to be the editor-in-chief
Sure.
for a long time.
Okay.
who was instrumental in lots of our favourite DC events and writers and artists being prominent.
For example.
Scott Snyder, Jeff Johns, Jim Lee's been around for a long time, but those sorts of people.
And now he's gone.
Now he's gone.
So.
I mean, he also was in charge during New 52, Rebirth, whatever the last thing was.
What was the last thing? There hasn't been
Watchmen.
anything.
It was the Watchmen one.
Yeah, but that was sprung out of Rebirth, so there's not been anything really since Rebirth. The next big thing I think that's coming up is
It's
this
5G.
5G thing.
Is it happening?
Okay, from what I understand.
Should we give context to what it is?
Yeah, let's give context to what it is.
After you, Ben.
Okay. So, 5G or Generation 5, or whatever the hell they're calling it, seems to be DC's attempt to age up some of their more, like the Trinity, basically,
Yeah,
of
which is-
DC heroes, which is
Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman.
correct. They will be aged up, so they are, I don't know, in like 70s, 80s, something like that.
Yeah, like age appropriate to how when they were originally
Potentially.
out, maybe.
And then it's possibly going to be the Flash and Aquaman and all those guys as well. And new characters will then go into those roles. So, for example, there'll be a new Batman, maybe like a Batman Beyond, maybe
Yeah,
not,
or a Damian Wayne Batman.
perhaps. At the same time, it isn't going to be a cross-platform reboot of everything. So stories that are still being told will still be told.
Right.
This will just be like a section of it, almost like maybe like a DC Black Label.
Right.
So it's like its own thing.
Right.
It could turn into an Elseworlds thing. I genuinely don't know if it's ever actually going to happen or if it's just something they're talking about. And I mean, I'm not crazy about it. I don't think I'm going to buy anything.
Well, I quite like the idea of Superboy as a late teens, early 20s. Because Jonathan Kent
Yeah.
is.
But I think we're talking older than that. I think we're talking possibly beyond Jonathan Kent.
well, then he's just Superman.
Exactly. So what's the point in doing it? And anyone who's Batman but not Bruce Wayne but is still Batman is still Batman.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand why they're doing it. Maybe to bring some new people in, bring in new readers, or maybe to ingest some lifeblood into what's come before. I genuinely don't get it. I'm not thrilled for it, but apparently it's happening. And Jim Lee has said that it's not going to be a complete cross-wide reboot. It's just going to be a little section of its own thing.
I bet it was going to be a cross-wide reboot. I bet it was. And then the news broke about Dan Dididididido, or however you pronounce it, and the stuff that came with him was 5G, Generation 5, and a lot of the internet were like,
What the hell?
well, just why? Just why bother?
Yeah, I know. So here we go. Jim Lee said, let me start by saying, to address some of the stuff that's out there, there are rumours, there's been some speculation out there. DC's been around for 85 years, and we're going to be around for another 85 years. And he said, oh, apparently there were rumours of Marvel potentially buying out DC as well.
Yeah, I've
What
heard
the
that
hell?
before. Yeah, I don't think
I
it's
don't know. I don't know. But yeah, the upcoming Generation 5 storyline, the 5G initiative, was originally rumoured to be a reboot of the current DC Comics universe, but Lee's comments now suggest that it is no longer the case. More details have yet to publicly surface about what the event means for the current DC timeline. And Lee said, our intent is not to do a line-wide reboot. Our focus is to continue what we've done in the past, done the best, pairing characters with great creators and continue to make diverse and amazing stories that give you guys love. We're telling stories about characters that can fly and going into other dimensions. It should be a lot of fun. Agreed. But within the context of the story that's been told around that character before. If you just completely go off the deep end and do something wacky with them, I have to ask why.
Well, that's why, for listeners who don't know what Elseworlds is, that's why things like Elseworlds exist. Elseworlds is
Like a Superman Red Sun.
yeah, it's an opportunity to tell a story about that character that's not in continuity. It's just a chance to play in the sandpit.
So maybe this is what it'll be.
Yeah, and that's great. But I would say one of the biggest reasons why people love superhero comic books is the continuity, the long-term storylines. These characters who have had these long-running experiences that you feel like you've lived a life with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reboots are
Tricky.
They're novelty, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah. I don't think it's a good idea. Well, they're not doing a line-wide reboot, which I've said now 3 times.
Which is weird
Which is
because
good.
It's weird that we're sort of like happy they're not doing a line-wide reboot, considering how we felt about New 52 and Rebirth. We enjoyed both of those, but
I
there were
enjoyed
issues.
New 52 more than Rebirth to start with.
Yeah.
I think as Rebirth sort of left the Rebirth brand and sort of became DC Universe and sort of went beyond the Rebirth thing when Doomsday Clock was taking forever to come out, and it settled down to become its own thing, I enjoyed it more.
Rebirth didn't quite know what it was, did it?
Not really.
It was kind of like, well, it's sort of a restart, but it's not, because New 52 still happened. But it's sort of bringing back other stuff, and then there's some Easter eggs over here, and you're like, well, is that ever going to be driven forward? But
No.
it never is. And New 52, I mean, we could talk about New 52 all night.
Yes.
But some of New 52 was absolutely magnificent, and some of it was very, very strange.
The only thing of New 52 that I have read and enjoyed is the following. Excuse me. Scott Snyder's run on the Batman, which
just
was
carried on from before, though.
absolutely incredible. Yeah, of course it did.
Yeah.
But it was incredible.
Yeah, it was good, yeah.
Justice League
Yeah,
with
it was
Jeff Johns
great.
was great.
The Justice League run was fantastic.
And the first maybe 2 trades of Aquaman were good.
Flash was good.
I didn't read it. have to say.
Aquaman was really good. Superman was terrible. Action Comics was very good. Which
See,
is
that's
Superman.
so strange. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
Yeah, it has,
Or
yeah.
or it hasn't.
In fact, actually, that Superman is dead.
That Superman is definitely dead.
Which
He
is-
exploded,
yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I knew
the post-crisis,
Oh my God.
pre-New 52 Superman is the one that exists, and everyone loves him because he's the best.
He's the best Superman.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
I know. I genuinely could talk about New 52 all day.
I know you
because
could.
my love and hatred for it are equal. Right, should we talk about some Marvel stuff?
Yeah, go on then. Why not?
Shang-Chi is going to feature some mutant characters.
Yeah, and it's a well, for me certainly it's a lesser known mutant character. So apparently a Daniel
Yes.
Richtman at Daniel RPK said, I have learned that there is a character in Shang-Chi who's a mutant in the comics. WizKid. No idea if he'll be a mutant in the film though. And then he followed up with saying, I saw WizKid on a grid a month ago actually. Didn't make the connection until today when I learned he's actually a character from the comics and a mutant no less. So I don't know who WizKid is.
No.
I think there's some information on him a little bit further down. However, very Marvel of Marvel to introduce a whole raft of characters by bringing in someone who's probably not massively well known to like your Joe Public moviegoer. However, when he says, oh yeah, and I'm a mutant, don't forget there's a ton more of us and we turned up after XYZ happened with Thanos and the snap and we're a result of that or something. I think this is very, very clever. This is one of the most Marvel things that Marvel are brilliant at doing, and that is just introducing someone who's not massive, but but is a gateway, leaving the door ajar to mutants then coming back in.
Drip feeding. Just a little bit of just.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, you even don't need to do much. You can just be like, well, how did you get powers? Like, well, I was born with them.
Absolutely.
Move on.
Yeah.
You know, that's
So apparently, this is WizKid, created by Louise Simonson and John. Okay, I'm going to butcher these words now. Bogdanov.
yeah, that's exactly how you pronounce it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Takashi Matsuura / WizKid is a wheelchair-bound mutant with the ability to rearrange the shapes of various materials, including metal and plastic. First appearing in 1988's X-Terminators #1, the character is often portrayed as a technological genius.
I think he's probably going to be the foil to Shang-Chi in this. He's going to be like his sidekicky type character. Don't you think?
Probably, yeah, could be. Have they appeared in the comics in the past together? I don't know.
No idea.
No idea. You don't know either.
No.
Someone will know,
Yeah.
and they'll tweet us. Do that now. Just say yes or no.
I'm looking forward to Shang-Chi. I think there's something a bit Guardians of the Galaxy about Shang-Chi, and what I mean by that is it's a bit left field. It's a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit like. I mean, I know who Shang-Chi is. If anyone said to me Shang-Chi, I'd be like, yeah, that's the dude from the comics. Like,
Master of Kung Fu.
yeah.
But
But like, a lot of people don't know him.
yes.
So that's quite cool.
yeah, absolutely. And no one knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were until they turned up, and
Yeah.
then everyone loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah, when's that movie coming out? That's coming out
February 2021.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. Okay, next
Right.
up.
The next bit of news is it's wonderful. It's wonderful in every way.
If it's true.
Yeah.
If it's true.
Okay. Let me wind back Wayne's World style. Travel back in time by 10 seconds. Anything She-Hulk news is wonderful.
Okay.
And Marvel, this is true. Marvel said they were looking for an Alison Brie type
Yes.
to play Jennifer Walters.
Yes.
She-Hulk. And an Alison Brie type is Alison Brie.
Well,
So,
absolutely, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Did you see her interview with James
Corden?
Corden?
No,
yeah.
I am aware that it exists. I have not yet had the opportunity to watch it.
So she is on there, and he asks her about it. He just literally says, like, "Did you see the news of this? You were trending on Twitter."
Yeah.
Alison Brie She-Hulk, and she was like, "Oh yeah." And what she was, it was really sweet actually. She said she's always been looking for roles that are like an Anne Hathaway type or a Sandra Bullock type.
Yeah.
And she's never had anyone say an Alison Brie type.
Right.
So for her, she was like, "That's amazing." So they want someone like me, and then they were joking like, "Well, that's you."
Yeah, why don't you just go and get- Well,
and then he did ask her directly, and then she kind of makes a joke like, "And then I made some phone calls," and it's like, "Did you make some phone calls?" So she's a bit coy about it, and I mean, it smacks of, for me, as we've said on this podcast many times,
Yes.
a big studio going, "We think we want this person. Let's see what the internet thinks."
Yeah, let's put the feelers
Yeah,
out.
yeah. And then the internet went, "Yeah," and now they're going to hire her.
Would she mocap it?
Yeah, I think they would do it just like
Ruffalo.
did in Endgame,
Yes.
but
So,
smaller.
slightly smaller. But the thing is She-Hulk was lauded as a potential not a comedy TV program, but it has elements of comedy to it.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, she's
And Alison
got,
Brie is a fantastic comedic
yeah,
actress.
Community.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Glow, she's in.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
lots of things. She's
I've
been
not
in.
seen Glow, but I hear it's very, very good.
Mm.
I'm all for this. I
Yeah.
think this would be fantastic.
Yep.
I heard it and I was like, my God, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, this is perfect. If this casting actually comes off, it's perfect casting.
Yeah.
It's almost as much of a no-brainer for me as Downey Jr. as Iron Man,
Yeah.
Hemsworth as Thor,
Yeah.
or Evans as Cap.
Yeah.
It just... I don't have to think about it and squint and slightly turn my head and go, would
No.
it work? I could just go, I can see that. Yes, that would work.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that would work.
And
It'd
I
be
think
brilliant.
she would be really good as the slapstick physical comedy of figuring out her Hulk body as well.
Yeah.
Like I can see her like stumbling through a wall and being like, "Sorry." Do you know what I mean? Like she's like suddenly the computer wore tennis shoes type thing where he's suddenly really strong. Have you seen that film? It was a Disney movie
that's
from
a
a long,
Disney
long
movie.
time ago.
Is that got Kurt Russell in it?
Yeah, it is Kurt Russell. Yeah.
My God, I can't believe
No,
that.
hang on.
I'm sure it is.
Or is it Bridges?
Do you know? Oh, it doesn't matter. It's definitely one of them.
I think it's Jeff Bridges now that we've discussed it in depth.
Okay.
It's Kurt Russell. Well done. It's Kurt Russell.
How dare you challenge my knowledge?
Yep.
Still waiting, Marshall Junius. Anyway, yeah, no, this is a no-brainer casting decision. If it actually happens, it makes sense to me.
And they've a side story to this is Ruffalo has said that there have been talks for him to appear in the show.
Come on, that's just
I mean, that's no brainer as well.
Yeah,
he will just
absolutely.
be in the first episode
no,
to give her the
powers.
blood transfusion. Yeah,
Yeah,
And then
okay.
then it'll be like, "Oh, I've got this thing off planet. I've got to go and do. Bye." That's what I think. Well,
That'll be fine. That'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Should we talk about some Star Wars news?
Yes, over to you at this point because I vaguely saw this. Oh no, hang on, this is the other bit.
Yeah, this one's yours.
I'll cut that last bit out. This is mine. Right, okay. So this is spoilers for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, everyone in the world has seen Rise of
yeah,
Skywalker.
but if I don't say it, Nathan, then someone will angry tweet me and
everyone
I just
in the
can't
world
be
has seen it.
bothered.
Everyone in the world. I mean, twice.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there is an omission from the film Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker that will apparently be revealed in the new book of the movie Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. Is that Emperor Palpatine, who returns in the film, is not the Emperor Palpatine who was thrown down a cliff, not a cliff, the
shaft,
the
yeah,
shaft
yeah.
by Darth Vader. It's a clone of Palpatine.
I think we all kind of maybe thought that anyway.
Did we?
Maybe.
Probably. But that it stands to reason there's more of them, right?
Yes.
So he's going to come back again, possibly.
Yes. I think that would be cheap writing. But yes. Don't you?
Well, if they have to do a handbrake turn on a second movie of a trilogy again, then they'll just bring him back again, right?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did hear that J-Brams wanted a clone of him in Force Awakens.
Really?
That's what I heard the story of. Yeah. No, I don't know where that was reported. Apologies. That could be just me making it up. But no, I'm pretty sure I read that.
Okay.
Today, I think I read that.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you add it to the
No,
article?
No,
Oh, okay,
no.
fine.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
J-
Professional, slick. Yeah.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's a nothing. It's a very small piece. It's a very small story, but I just think it adds a little bit to the movie, and I don't know why they bothered to cut it out because they could. In the movie, again, spoilers. They showed a like a tube of about 7 or 8 Snokes.
Yeah.
Why didn't they have a tube of 7 or 8 Palpatines?
I think we've all heard the stories about the reshoots for Rise of Skywalker and the touch-ups in the story and what have you, and the changes with the concept art. I think the movie we got was a Frankenstein's monster of what the movie should have been. So
I still enjoyed it.
yeah, I enjoyed it as well. You know, we've talked about it.
Yeah, we
But,
have. Yeah, go back and listen to our review.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
great.
The next news story.
Yes.
So this is over to me. Is this?
This is over to you
I'm
because
happy
I
for this
know
over to me.
I know little bits about this, but I haven't looked at it in depth because I feel like I might need a break from it.
Okay, so there was a thing called Project Luminous. Star Wars Project Luminous had been sort of working around the internet for a little while. No one quite knew what it was.
Luminous beings, are we?
Exactly. And it has been announced as a thing called Star Wars The High Republic.
Yes.
So this is set 200 years before The Phantom Menace.
Yes.
And it's when the Jedi are at their height of their power.
Yes.
And the main thrust of the storyline is going to be a series of space Vikings come in and attack from the Outer Rim, because the Republic isn't going to be the Republic we know from the saga we've seen.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the entire galaxy. It's going to be parts of it. It's not going to spread out quite so far.
Space Vikings.
Yeah, Space Vikings. Yeah,
And it's going to be told across comics and books.
yes, and possibly some video games. Possibly.
That's not been announced though, right? It's just
yeah,
been comics and
they've
books
kind of
announced.
they've got some art on there, and it's gonna have a range of age groups it's aimed at. So there'll be some for kids, there'll be some for young adults, there'll be some adult books.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they're gonna have. I mean, they haven't released this, but clearly Yoda needs to be in this because he's 900 years old. So
You're talking now. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen a Yoda
No.
in any of the images that we've got here. I mean, this is great radio. We're talking about images here, but on the CBR.com, we've got this news article about this, and
it's a
there's
lovely video they've produced.
I should watch it probably. There's no Yodas on this, right?
No, there aren't. No.
Okay.
No.
But at this point, Yoda would be a sexy Yoda probably.
Yeah.
Be a young, swashbuckling,
Well,
handsome,
not
sort
that
of
young. I mean,
talking pigeon like
yeah.
sexy Yoda.
I love the name. I think it gives them license to do interesting stories that we wouldn't have heard of before, because it's not quite the old Republic, which it's legacy now, so it's not actually part of the series, but they're going to be taking some cues from that.
And it's not going to be any movies like we speculated a little while ago. It's going to right. Let me look at this here. Right. Okay.
I mean, it's to say it's not going to be movies or TV shows, I think is probably short-sighted. I think what they're probably doing is testing. Do people like this content?
Okay.
If they do, almost certainly they'll do a TV show, like they've done Rebels, like they've done Clone Wars, like they've done Resistance. Yes, Resistance.
Yes.
Which,
I don't like that.
No, I hear it's so-so.
Yeah, it's very childish.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Project Luminous is a new publishing initiative between Disney Lucas Press, IDW Publishing,
Yeah.
and Marvel Comics.
And that they're able to do some fun stuff like yellow lightsabers. Doesn't seem like much, but they've put it in the saga movie, so they can start to play around and actually, it's a way of them.
More purple lightsabers as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a way of them legitimizing some of the content from Legacy that they'll reappropriate for their new stories, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a way of pleasing fans that like all that expanded universe without having to stomp all over the storylines that exist at the minute because they really have set
Well,
themselves.
they've got thousands of years they can tell stories in, haven't they?
Exactly,
So,
yeah. But what they've been doing is telling all of these stories over this sort of, I don't know, 60-year window or something. And
There's so much more.
There's so much more they could do. So I
Yeah.
think that's why they've done it.
There's a couple of lightsabers here with some like cross hilt thingy jiggers.
Yeah.
Like a Kylo Ren has, but not like lightsaber bladed. I like it. I like it a lot. There's a yellow and a blue one.
There's some really interesting designs and styles in there. And I haven't been able to keep up with all of the books and comics that exist at the minute. But I'm interested in this.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I'm currently reading. So the Star Wars comic that's out at the moment is one that takes place in between Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Literally picks up right after Luke's had his hand lopped off, and it's very good because Luke's suffering from extreme PTSD.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So they did that when The Force Awakens first came back, didn't they? They did a series called Star Wars, which was set between A New Hope and Empire.
Yes, that's right.
So,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
So this is just extended on from that.
Yeah.
And then they're doing another one. That's Charles Soule writing that. Which is
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
he's very good at this. Yeah.
And then Greg Pak is doing one which is focusing on Vader, and that had a big cliffhanger ending after episode 1. So issue 2 will be out, I think, next week, maybe the week after, and I'm looking forward to reading that. And that's very good so far.
Cool.
Excellent. Anyway, yeah, I'll check out some comics. I won't read any books. You can't make me read books. You can't.
It's just a nice different take on Star Wars. It feels like if you want some extra content that doesn't ruin your existing enjoyment, try out the High Republic.
Yeah. Excellent. Good.
Okay, so the miscellaneous section.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so this is all Bond.
It's all Bond, is it?
Yeah. Well, it's not. There's two bits of Bond.
Okay.
So the first bit of Bond is that this is the longest Bond movie in existence.
Yes. What's the runtime? Maybe.
Everything's up in the air. We'll get to it in a minute.
Okay.
But it's 2 hours and 43 minutes.
God, bloody hell, that's pushing Endgame screen time. My
Why?
goodness.
Why?
Because they got a lot of story to tell. And it's going to be Daniel Craig's last Bond film, so they got to wrap it all up and send him off on his way.
This is the noise of someone unsure.
Well, apparently it's going to be the longest Bond film before that was the previous Bond film, which is Spectre, and it's going to be about 15 minutes longer than that. And Spectre is a dog of a film. I'm sorry, it's a dog of a film.
Yeah, it goes on way too long.
It's got a couple of good bits, but mostly it's not good.
Spectacle. It looks interesting.
Yeah,
And that's about it.
yeah.
I think that this is a systematic problem in all Hollywood movies for at least the last 10 years and will be going on forever, is that they are just unbelievably long, unnecessarily.
And they require a good edit.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I learnt when I was studying film, I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, Ben, before.
I've heard it once or twice, yeah. I seem to forget it every now and then.
It takes more skill to tell a coherent story over a shorter time than over a longer time, because you have to be more creative in portraying what you want to portray in the short space you have. The mise-en-scène, if you like, the mise-en-scène. It's bullshit words, but it's basically everything within the frame.
Yeah.
Don't put anything on there that isn't unnecessary.
Right.
Nothing unnecessary should be in that frame at all.
It's very interesting you say that, because I'm going to come back to those very words in something that I'll talk about in NerdScene later on, because you are banging the nail on the head.
Yeah,
that's the right word.
And that's
isn't it?
but it could be applied to the timeline as well.
Yes, yeah, I get it. However, when you talk about something like an Endgame,
Yeah,
was anything in Endgame not worthy of being in Endgame?
and that's a perfect example of why a long movie does need to exist, because it's the combination of those 14 years or whatever it is. Was it 14 years?
Yes. No.
12 years.
Yes, something like that. Yeah. 2008 to 2019. So 11 years.
Yeah. So that had
Let
value.
me check my math on that. Yes, that's 11 years.
That had value in being that long.
Yes,
but
it did.
If you're telling a contained story that doesn't
Have to wrap up 11 years worth of story. Yeah. Okay.
Like Return of the King, people are like, oh no, what is it? Never ends. Like, well, all of those endings have value.
Well, Nathan, I'm about to blow your mind, because this story could be wrapping up the Bond saga that started in 2005. which is 15 years worth of movies.
They're going to vomit because Bond should not be a continuation story like that. I know. You know.
And don't get me wrong, only one of those films is good, and that's Casino Royale, and the rest of them are not great. But
Speaking of Bond taking a long time,
yes, okay, let's get on to it.
this just broke as well.
Yeah,
I mean, just broke.
yeah, absolutely.
So No Time to Die, which was going to be released in 3 weeks' time?
Yes, something like that. Oh, maybe just over a month away. 10th of April, possibly. Doesn't matter.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Is now going to be released in November.
Yes, pushed back 7 months due to a worldwide pandemic that we are on the verge of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think this makes sense. And they're doing it with an awful lot of things to try and stymie the spread of this virus.
So is it about mass gatherings?
It's about mass gatherings not being a great idea. So
Okay.
they are trying to limit them. So, like, for example, this weekend, and I think maybe for the next 2 or 3 weeks, any sporting event that takes place in Italy is going to take place behind closed doors. So the rugby, England versus Italy, or Italy versus England, whatever it is.
No, it's Wales.
Okay, fine.
Italy.
Whatever it is, a rugby game that features Italy will take place behind closed doors. I think Serie A, which is the Italian football top league, when I say football, I mean soccer, not hand egg, is going to possibly cancel some games this weekend or, again, take place behind closed doors. I think they're talking about shutting schools and colleges and universities in Italy as well.
Yeah, some of the UK schools are closed. Some
Yeah.
Devon schools are closed.
So I think this is just, do you know what? If this gets worse, we are not going to be held responsible for making it worse. We're going to hold off. We're going to take the advice of, governments and public health authorities and all that sort of thing, and just do what we can to help this not spread any further.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it. Part of me is gutted because I really wanted to see the film. But the bigger part of me completely understands and knows why this has to happen.
I'm gonna put a timestamp on this podcast right now, so
Right.
people know when we've recorded it.
Okay.
This morning there were 51 cases of coronavirus in the UK.
Yeah.
Right now there are 85 cases of coronavirus
Yeah.
in the UK.
It'll be interesting to see where we are with the amount of cases this time next week. If it's more than 3 times what it is right now, I wouldn't say it's time to start worrying, but it's definitely cause for mild concern. Not panic.
No,
just
not
mild
panic.
concern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what? I was thinking of pivoting this podcast to have a topic of top 10 films that were delayed due to unforeseen reasons, and then I just thought it's probably not a good idea.
Well, I wondered if in a fortnight's time, if we still hadn't have a big release of something, we might want to do movies about pandemics or apocalyptic scenarios. But I don't know how on the nose that is.
I feel it feels a little bit too on the nose, and we might face a bit of criticism for that. Obviously, the one you go to first of all is 28 Days Later.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a zombie thing.
Well, technically they're not zombies.
Oh my
Nathan.
god, yeah, exactly. So this is a topic we could talk about. Yeah. Should I about something lighter than this?
Yes, let's do that.
Indiana Jones 5.
Right.
Spielberg is out, baby.
That's a shame, isn't it?
No.
No.
I
Really?
like Spielberg, and he makes quality movies, but when was the last time he made a really, really wow movie?
A really, really wow movie.
Yeah.
I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
What? Hang on. Okay.
They're saying that maybe James Mangold might take over. They haven't announced it officially.
What's a James Mangold Indiana Jones 5 movie going to look like? You tell me right now. I want to know.
It'll have heart.
Okay.
It'll have action.
Good.
It'll be a handing over of a torch to a younger character without a doubt.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Will it still feel like an Indiana Jones film without Spielberg at the helm? Or is an Indiana Jones film, does it have enough beats within the plot, within the music, within the action that it doesn't really matter who's directing it? It's just an Indiana Jones film.
I need to say something controversial here, right?
Oh my God. I tell you what, if you say you don't like an Indiana Jones film, I'm going to kill you.
I like 2 of the 4 Indiana Jones films.
Okay, it depends which 2 they are.
First and the third.
All right, well, that's fine.
Okay, so that's a 50% hit rate. There have been only 4 Indiana Jones movies. Why are we all so intensely worried about Harrison Ford not being Indy / Spielberg not directing / there ever being another Indiana Jones movie.
Will you stop making sense?
Do you know what I mean?
It really upsets me when you sit there and make really good points.
Like,
Now listen,
Harrison Ford is like a billion years old, and he's great.
he's
and
in his
all.
70s.
Yeah,
yes.
a billion.
Late 70s.
Yeah, a billion. But like, the guy doesn't need to do action scenes anymore.
But he likes an Indiana Jones. He likes being Indy. I don't know why. It's the dog's name. But he likes being that character. I love the Indiana Jones films. Now, I know that the first and the third are the best films.
The third one is the best one in my opinion. That Connery Ford play is
how those two bounce off each other is very, very good, and it's got it brings a bit more heart to the proceedings. However, the original Raiders of the Lost Ark is just turn your brain off, have a load of fun. The guy didn't really even need to be there because nothing that he does in that film has any consequence at all. He loses. Basically, completely loses. But it's such a lot of fun. It's so good. If it didn't have melty faces on it, I would have shown it to my twin sons already.
No,
yeah, exactly.
Faces, yeah.
Because it's got melty faces. I won't do that. But I still, there's a part of me that loves Temple of Doom. Now, it's probably due to the fact that I recorded it when it was on BBC One, I don't know, like in the early 90s or something like that.
Yeah.
And I took the little clip out of the VHS tape and I didn't let anyone record over it, and I watched it like on repeat. Now, I know it's not as good as Raiders, and it's not as good as The Last Crusade, but I tell you what, if you compare it to the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it's an infinitely better film than that one.
I mean, that movie.
But even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull has got some objectively good bits in it. I mean, some objectively ridiculous bits in it as well. Yeah. But some of it is good fun. Some of it, like when he's in the warehouse and he's fighting the Russians and he's like, "Damn, I thought that was closer," and Jesus, this used to be easier. So that's brilliant. I mean, I know it's on the nose, and I know, yes, he's old now, but some of it was so good, and I really, really enjoyed parts of that film, and I hated other parts of it as well.
What was the boy called in it? Mutt, wasn't it?
I think he was christened Indiana Jones Jr., but he called himself Mutt,
which is
the way that Indiana Jones is
named after
called.
The dog, yeah.
Well, yeah, but his real name is
Henry
James Jr.
But that's just...
I know. I will say that the majority of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a dreadful film, but there are elements to it that are fun.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm going to do the last news story right now.
Hang on. James Mangold is going to replace Spielberg, possibly. And Spielberg is out.
Yes.
And they're still making this film.
Yes.
And it starts shooting next month, apparently. Oh, my God. Okay.
I'm tired. I mean, Harrison Ford must be, but I am tired. Like, I know watching him, I'm going to be like, dude, just sit down. Just chill out. Like,
okay.
Like, the other day when I was walking from the supermarket across the road back to work.
Yes.
An elderly lady asked me to help her walk across the street, right? And I helped her.
Oh, you didn't tell her, you were too tired and you couldn't do it then?
But it was an exhausting experience because she took forever to cross the road. And I tell you, she was probably younger than Harrison Ford.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Bless her cotton socks.
Bless her.
She couldn't see very well. She'd just come out of the hospital.
Oh.
Yeah.
Last bit of news.
Yeah, last bit of news. Why the Last Man TV show has got a new star.
Yes. Now, I thought that this was all in the bin because I had heard that they'd done a pilot and a company had looked at the pilot and said, "We don't like this pilot. Fuck off."
Yeah.
So it's actually back. And who wrote Why the Last Man for the Love of God? Brian K. Vaughan posted on Instagram the other day, "Oh, hi, Yorrick." And it was a picture of this chap. So this chap is, what's his name?
Schnetzner.
What has Ben Schnetzner been in before?
Some stuff, definitely.
I'm sure he has.
He's in The Truth About Harry Kubert Affair. He was in Death and Life of John F. Donovan. He was in Snowden.
He's a 30-year-old handsome man born in New York.
Warcraft.
New York.
He was in Warcraft.
Oh, there you go. Good. And for those who don't know what Why the Last Man is, it's a comic book written by Brian K. Vaughan, and it tells the story of the last man on Earth and his pet monkey trying to understand why he's the last man on Earth, and everyone else who is alive on Earth is a woman.
Yeah. It's an excellent series.
It's a fantastic book. It really, really is. And I've been sort of wanting a show, not a movie, because I think there's too much for it to be just a movie.
Volumes?
I thought it was 10, but
maybe
I must be
10.
wrong.
No, you might be wrong. You might be right. Sorry.
But I might be wrong.
You might be wrong.
You might be wrong.
Why the last?
No, you're going to look it up, aren't you? I'll feel for a bit.
For my own brain. Yeah.
So Brian K. Vaughan and Pierre Guerrera, who's the artist, a successful graphic novel series follows Yorrick, an amateur.
10. It was 10. Well said.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah.
An amateur escape artist who has become the lone male human survivor after a mysterious plague killed off everyone else with a Y chromosome, including all male animals, except that is for his pet capuchin monkey, Ampersand, who follows him around. I love that monkey.
Yeah.
It's got to be a real monkey. If it's CGI, you'll be able to tell, and it'll be terrible.
It'll be CGI.
Oh, no!
Yes. Yeah.
Can they train a monkey?
You probably, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Good.
I'll take it. I think they're going to do. I think the fact they've cast this chap means they're going to do a new pilot, and then probably go on from there.
I wonder if they'll be able to reuse some of the stuff, like the Game of Thrones pilot. They recast Daenerys and Catelyn Stark, and
There are some.
someone
They
else.
change haircuts as well.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
There's a couple of very
Varys, not Varys. No, what's the guy that marries off Daenerys to Illyrio?
Illyrio,
yeah,
yeah,
he's a
Master
completely
Illyrio.
different actor. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a couple of scenes in the very early episodes of Game of Thrones season 1 where you can tell that it's from the original
Right,
pilot and
yeah.
not the remade pilot, because there are some scenes where Ned Stark's hair is sort of like slicked back,
Right. Okay.
and you're like, well, it didn't look like actually What the fuck is going on here? You know, it's
Yeah.
because it was from a completely different
Yeah,
time when he
yeah,
made
yeah.
it. So they might be able to do that, but I think there was a different Yorrick in the original, so maybe not. But maybe.
Cut around it. It was a different Marty McFly in the original Back to the Future.
Oh my
For
god!
quite a
yes.
bit of it.
So it was. Yeah. So it was. Okay.
Should we talk about some nerd scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Nerd scene.
So this is Nerd Scene. This is where we talk about stuff that we've watched and read and seen. Nerd Scene.
And we are nerds.
You see what we've done there?
I see what we've done.
Scene, yeah.
Yeah.
Should I do my 3?
Is that what you've got? Just 3?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I'm deep in the Wheel of Time series. Still reading book 3, and I'm reading that collection of short stories of Chinese sci-fi, which I talked about last time.
Yes, you did.
Sort of flicking between them as I read. I did pick up a Murakami book as well, but that's going to be one I read in between some of the other series.
Okay.
This is not important. When I get to it, I'll tell you.
Okay, fine. But that's stuff that you're gonna see.
Yeah.
But what have you seen?
So the Doctor very sweetly bought tickets for myself and her to go and see the surprise film at Picture House. If you don't know, Picture House cinemas do this thing. I don't think it's every month. I think it's every quarter, maybe. They do this thing called a surprise film, where it's a slightly cheaper ticket, and it's just one screening, and you have no idea what it is, and you go in, and you don't know until it starts, until the
You saw
BBFC film comes out. I saw the farewell.
You saw the farewell on this
and
one,
the
didn't you?
farewell was chef's kiss. It was absolutely wonderful. If you haven't seen the farewell, everyone just go and watch it. It's wonderful. So when we went to go to the cinema to watch this, and I was told by the Doctor that the screening was at 6 p.m.
This was incorrect.
This was incorrect. So we got to the cinema at 5:45, and the screening wasn't actually till 8:30.
My
So we were
gosh.
there, and we were like, it's really raining a lot outside.
Yeah.
And we're both really tired, and we're here now.
Yeah.
Shall we see what else is on that we could fit in between now and then? So we watched Greed, which is the, I want to say Alan Partridge, but not Alan Partridge. What's his name?
Steve Coogan.
Steve Coogan and David
else.
Mitchell.
Oh, right.
Comedy / social commentary movie directed by Michael Winterbottom. It's about a fictional high street mogul
Right.
who owns lots of different high street stores, fashion stores, who is a billionaire living exotic island and, tax havens and all the rest of it. And it's about his extravagant 60th birthday that he is running, and he's trying to invite all these very, very famous people, and this character is played by Steve Coogan.
Yeah.
So Michael Winterbottom also did The Trip.
Yes.
With
Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon. Yeah.
And the David Mitchell character is a biographer of him.
Right.
And it flashes back and forth through different time periods. There's another actor plays him as a young man. Shows him through school and then his first business ventures, and then it shows some of the legal stuff that's happened to him and blah, blah, blah. Isla Fisher's in it. She's very good as well. Lots of faces, lots of that guy.
That guy. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not good.
Oh.
It is funny.
Right.
And it is important.
Okay.
It
I'm
has
listening.
some very important messages in it. A lot of it is about the injustices of the very, very poor people who make the clothes for our fashion industry.
Right.
And
so it's like sweatshop people.
yes, and a lot of the people that are shown in that are the real people and the real locations that they're gone to. So David Mitchell goes as the biographer to see some of the places that he's sourced his this fictional character sourced his clothes from, and they got them to actually act it for you. And there's some pretty hard hitting stuff in there, and spoilers. The entire end credits is a series of facts about the industry and about people's lives and the 1%ers and all that sort of stuff.
Jesus.
And yeah, it's a very important film. It's just a shame that it's not very good.
Oh. So it's trying to get across an important message, and it sort of fumbles it trying to do it.
It's not enough of a ridiculous film,
Right.
and it's not enough of a real hard-hitting film. It doesn't do either particularly well, and there are a couple of characters in there you're like, oh, you're kind of here to drive home the message rather than actually drive the plot forward, and it's not a great movie.
So it doesn't really know what it wants to be.
Yeah,
as well.
and it's such a shame because it is funny. There definitely are funny bits, but it's all right.
I'm looking at some trivia for it. It says Steve Coogan, in IMDb trivia, if you can take this as real, stated he based his performance on Sir Philip Green.
Yes.
Now, Sir Philip Green was one of these
Yeah.
real-life
Yeah.
business magnates who, didn't he own BHS at
He
one
did,
point
yeah,
and
yeah.
bought it for £1 or something like that and screwed over everyone's pensions funds and all sorts?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole scene.
Or allegedly, just in
Yeah.
case if we get sued. Yeah.
There's a whole scene in it where David Mitchell talks to this sort of financial consultant, accountant type thing, and it like explains the juggling that goes on, and I think it's real, and you're just aghast at it. You're just like shock after shock after shock. Like this, they're just screwing everyone over.
So surely there's got to be some rules against what all these people are people are doing to
finding
make
all
money.
the loopholes. Yeah, yeah.
My God, it's crazy, isn't it?
And then we saw the surprise film,
Okay,
which was a film called Misbehaviour,
right.
which is about the Miss World contest in the 70s,
Right.
maybe.
Is it a documentary or a
No,
film?
no, it's a film, and it's
Oh.
starring Keira Knightley and
Oh, I like Keira
a bunch of loads of people who are really great.
Greg Kinnear.
Yeah, Greg Kinnear plays Bob Hope.
Greg Kinnear plays Bob Hope.
Yes, he does.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up the exact date of it because it was a monumental. Let's get this.
So it's based on a real event. Is
Oh
it?
yeah, absolutely, yes.
And it was a what was it like
It's the 1970s. It's the 1970 Miss World Beauty competition, and it's a story of two parallel worlds that collide. It is about the women's rights movement
right,
and the Miss World competition.
and the two don't really go hand in glove, do they?
Not really, but it was one of the first times where the women's rights activists took part in live television, and they were billboards and placarding outside the event, and yeah, it's a really interesting story. And actually, everyone in it's really good. I recommend everyone to see this film. It was very, very good.
Probably had a whole bunch of American guys going, "What are all these women doing? Why don't they get back to the kitchen and things like that?"
Yeah,
right?
there's a lot of it that you're looking at and you're just like, oh
Cringe.
my god, because again it's real. Like
Yeah.
like these things happened, and they're not over the top, and they're not pastiche, and they're not ridiculous. They are real. They did happen, and yeah, and I think it's the thing that killed Bob Hope's career. I'm pretty sure it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously on his way out anyway because he was a slightly older chap at that point. He wasn't a film star anymore, but I think he was on stage and said some things about the women's rights, and it was like, Ooh, whoops.
Well, Bob Hope was always making jokes.
Yes.
So he was probably thinking he was making a joke about it.
Yeah.
And if they found that if they
Yeah.
took it seriously, of course, then
Yeah.
that probably didn't go so well for him.
Yeah.
You have to remember, of course, Nathan, is that 1970 was 50 years ago.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
50 years ago, this world was a very, very different place. 60 years ago was the very first season of Mad Men, and it was a completely different place. So
There is an actress in it called I should say actor. Are we supposed to say actor now? Actress? I don't know if that's right or not.
look, just make your point.
There's a lady in it called Jessie Buckley.
Jesse Buckley. Why do
Who-
I know that name?
She is an absolute chameleon. She is fantastic. She's in a film called Wild Rose, which I really want to see. It's about a down and out type Scottish person who wants to be a country singer, and it's got Judi Dench in it. Not Judi Dench. Oh, jeez, Julie Walters. Sorry.
What is wrong with you?
I know, but Wild Rose looks great. However, she was in Judy,
Right.
which was great as well, and she plays like Judy's sort of manager in that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
manager when she comes to England.
Right. Oh, her British manager.
Yeah,
then,
so in that, she's this really prim, proper, sort of stiff upper lip, trying to get the best out of this drunk and difficult woman in Judy.
Yeah.
And in Misbehaviour, she plays the kind of leader of the women's rights activist who lives in a commune, who is this wild, like red-haired, curly, crazy...
Watch what you're saying here,
she
Nathan.
is. She's this wild character.
God.
She goes out and she's spray painting on signs and she's causing chaos. She's an anarchist.
Right.
She's an absolute chameleon and she's fantastic in it.
She's Irish. She's from Killarney in Ireland. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
She is one to watch. She's going to be on people's the tip of people's tongues in the future.
She is going to star in all upcoming episodes of season 4 of Fargo.
Yep.
There you go. Fantastic. Okay, I'll look out
Jessie
for that.
Buckley. She's going to
Jessie
be.
Buckley.
She's gonna be big on. So yes, Misbehaviour. is the film.
Misbehaviour, and it's a real film. It's not a documentary.
No, highly recommended.
And it's, oh my God, and it's got Greg Kinnear as Bob Hope. I can't even believe it. Who does Keira Knightley play? Sally Alexander. Is that a contestant or?
No, she's one of the spokespeople for the women's rights.
Oh, I should have probably known that. Really.
Well,
Oh,
she was.
God.
I'll
just cut that bit out.
She's a. Well, I didn't know either. She was put forward to be on TV on a discussion about it before the Miss World contest happened.
Right.
And I think she was sort of poster child for it. The movie has real world characters in it.
Right. Okay.
It's lovely. It's a really lovely movie. I mean, there's some bits in it that, like you say, make you just completely cringe.
Just want to have the floor open up and swallow
Yeah,
your whole.
yeah, and make
okay.
you, completely horrified that you're a white male.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some really, really lovely, touching stuff in it.
Okay. Excellent.
Last one from me.
Yeah. Sure. Now, I
Go on.
haven't started watching this yet, so I don't want to know spoilers, but I want to know details.
So you've seen season 1 of Altered Carbon?
I have seen season 1 of Altered Carbon.
So this is season 2 of Altered Carbon I'm talking about. I'm
Yes.
6 episodes in of 8.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay. Honest.
Yeah, honest. So I loved season 1. Absolutely loved it. It was
you did.
one of my favourite shows of last year. Last year? No, the year before even.
Excuse me. Yeah, I think it was the year before.
Yeah. This one, I think I had high expectations for it because I enjoyed it so much. Honestly, I think it's probably as good, but I was expecting more. And what has happened is that it has built. And I would say the last episode that I watched, episode 6, was the best episode yet.
Oh right.
It
Okay.
was very, very good. And I think maybe it's just got some more explaining to do. It's a different place. It's Anthony Mackie's now the star, who's very good in it. I was worried about him a little bit because he's a little bit cheesy is not the right word, but he's a little bit tongue-in-cheek type thing. Do you know, as Falcon, like you see him, he's a bit like cheeky chappy.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
He's
I
a bit
get it.
like, he makes a quip and stuff. And Kovacs does not make quips.
No.
Um,
So Anthony Mackie is the new sleeve for Takeshi Kovacs.
Yes.
In season 1, played for the most part by Joe Kinnaman.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
Does he show up?
A lot of the actors from season 1 pop up at different points.
Interesting.
Yeah. But Anthony Mackie, sorry, just to say, is very good. He plays it straight. He's incredibly earnest, and it works
Okay.
really well. He's very good in it.
I believe a previous Takeshi Kovacs sleeve may make a reappearance.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But not Takeshi Kovacs. A previous Takeshi Kovacs sleeve. You're not telling me anything.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, fine.
It's actually good. It's actually really good.
How many years after season 1 is this set? Does it say, or does it never really specify?
I want to say it's like 30 years, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean,
Is it off-world or is it same?
it's off-world. It's,
Oh,
different.
okay.
It's on Harlan's world, which is different. Again, I've read the 3 books it's based on, and this isn't based on those books really. It takes
Elements or something?
yeah. So that's another reason why I'm like, it's good,
But it could have been so much
it's
better.
just a bit different. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
get
but,
it.
yeah, no, I'm enjoying it, and it keeps the same look and feel, and yeah, it's good.
Is it the same showrunner and directors and all that
I
sort of
honestly
thing?
don't know.
And you haven't looked it up or researched it?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I have. This is one of those things, right, where normally we're us as the nerds we are, just like deep dive into stuff. But with this, I have just consumed it.
Yeah.
I have just popcorn consumed it.
Yeah, just stuck it in your face.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I will get to it. I will get to
Yeah.
it.
You got quite a list.
I have. Well, I've been kind of a busy man, you know.
Yeah.
Been very busy. So I've finished the latest season of Doctor Who, and I enjoyed it more than last season's Doctor Who. Now, it's still been a little slow here and there. However, it's had some very interesting turns of events, and we've learnt something about the Doctor, if it's true, that we didn't really know before.
Do I want to know?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll just say right now, spoilers for the very last episode of the most recent season of Doctor Who.
Yeah, it doesn't
So if you don't
bother
want to
me.
know,
No,
then
yeah,
skip
yeah.
ahead. You find out that the Doctor is also known as the Timeless Child. She is not a Time Lord. She is the basis of all Time Lords. So basically, she died when she was a kid, and she was being taken in by this person, a native person who lived on Gallifrey, which is the Time Lord's, in air quotes, home planet. She wasn't a Time Lord, that native person, just like a regular, not a human, but a human who lived
Humanoid?
humanoid type person. The Doctor just appeared. She was taken in by this person. I forget this person's name.
Dave.
We'll call her Dave. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
She's called Dave.
Yeah.
And then there was an accident, and the Doctor, this child, she wasn't called the Doctor back then. We don't know what she was called. This child died, air quotes, but regenerated and became a different kid. And this woman who was looking after her was like, "What the fuck? What's going on here?" So studied and studied, figured out that this regeneration process happened, figured out how to combine the regeneration with her own genes. So when she died, she regenerated.
As Dave.
That's correct. And then basically all of Time Lord society is based off of the Doctor's genetic code. The fact that they couldn't regenerate until the Doctor showed up. They don't know where she came from, a different universe,
So
a
it's a
different
paradox.
planet.
It's a paradox.
Potentially,
Because
I don't know.
the Doctor travels through time and space.
But again, spoilers for the most recent season of Doctor Who. A new Doctor showed up, and you didn't find out she was a Doctor until towards the end of the episode. And you were like, what? This can't be a Doctor, because she doesn't recognise current Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. So it's like, well, she can't be looking back because she'd recognise that Doctor. So it's now makes sense. The explanation is she was a Doctor before William Hartnell's first Doctor. We just didn't know about it because something has happened and it's all.
So is that,
their
are they allowed
brains
more
have been
than
wiped.
wasn't it 13 Doctors is all that it could be or something?
Yeah, but that's no.
As that's reset now.
I
is it?
think that might be other Time Lords. It was sort of reset in this Doctor with the rerun of Doctor Who or the New Who, that the Time Lords, for a crack in space and time, gave a whole new regeneration cycle to Matt Smith's Doctor, allowing him to regenerate from 11 into 12, because there'd been a war Doctor that they found out in between, so he shouldn't have been able to have done that. So then 12 has now gone into 13, which is the second regeneration of a 12 regeneration cycle.
Right.
But I don't think that's actually going to be true for this Doctor, because they're not a real Time Lord. They're their own thing.
I mean, of all the shows in all time, no pun, it's the one show that can quite easily rewrite that bit of canon.
Absolutely.
They could
and
just
it likely will.
One line.
Yeah.
They could just do, and now the Doctors can regenerate as many times as they want.
And I was
Move
told
on.
today that reminded today that in a classic Who episode with Tom Baker's Doctor, he was going up against this alien thing. I can't remember the name of the episode now. where he was revealed, like a load of faces before, like the 4 doctors that had come before him were revealed to him as other versions of himself.
Right.
So now that sort of ties into that sort of old classic
Okay.
Who canon. So it's kind of clever. I kind of liked it, but at the same time, I'm not sure. Not sure. I'd like to know what Doctor Who fans think if I haven't spoilt it for them. Anyway, I'll go on. New season of Curb Your Enthusiasm is out.
Wow.
Have you ever watched Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Bits and pieces throughout time.
Oh my God, it's so good. I mean, it's just so clever how, basically, if you don't know what Curb Your Enthusiasm is, it's Larry David playing himself, but a really awkward, annoying, argumentative version of himself that gets into every kind of bad situation you could possibly imagine. Lives in Los Angeles. It's an awful lot about the Me Too movement in this series, which is a little bit...
It's not just that he gets in those situations; it's that he's completely confounded as to why he's in that situation, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
always
and
just
why
like,
are people reacting like that?
how has this happened?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's very good. I think I've watched like 3 or 4 episodes of the 6 that have been on so far. It's great. His agent Jeff bears more than a passing resemblance to Harvey Weinstein. Actually, in real life, he does,
Right,
and people
okay.
mistake him for that. So they get upset with Larry for inviting Harvey Weinstein to a party.
Right.
And Jeff's like, "No, I'm not that Jeff." And it's very good. It's very, very good. He's falling out with a coffee shop owner called Mocha Joe's. So he's rented out the vacant shop right next door to set up his own coffee place. And he's like, "God, this Spite store is a lot of hard work, to set all this up." It's ridiculous, but it's hilarious, and I love it. And awkward at times, very awkward. But I love it. I watched the Sonic the Hedgehog film,
Oh yes, you did. Yeah.
and it was perfectly serviceable.
Yep.
I laughed at bits. I went at bits. Yeah, it was better than I thought it was going to be. Actually, it's just a film.
There
and
was do you know Robbie Collins, the film critic? He sometimes stands in for Mark Kermode on
Yes.
the Kermode and the Mayo.
Yeah.
And I was listening to their podcast on Friday, and I don't normally like Robbie Collins' opinions on things. We're at odds normally, but he did say one thing.
Does he know that you're at odds?
No, it's a secret war. It's like Sheldon and Will Wheaton. He said why make this Sonic movie? Like, why make a Sonic movie where for a lot of the time he's sat as a passenger in a car? And like I was like, yeah, from the trailers I get that.
That's
yeah,
a good point. Yeah, that's a
why
very
don't you
good
make
point.
it in like
because
Hill
it's
Valley?
human-
Is it Hill Valley? Something
I
like
think
that.
so. Yeah. No, Hill Valley is in
Back to the Future. Yeah, hang on.
Green Hills.
Green Hills. I was going to say,
Green
where
Hills.
does... Yeah, but it is Green Hills. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not make it there? Just...
Well, well, there's a journey. It's explained in the film. I
Right.
can't explain it. It's spoilers. Basically, he's got these rings that can send him anywhere he thinks he wants to go.
Right.
And he gets tranquilizer gunned whilst he's holding his bag of rings as he's about to go to a different planet. And he sees the T-shirt this guy's wearing, which is a very tight T-shirt with a San Francisco building on it.
Right.
So he sees that and he says, "San Francisco?" And then the ring opens up a portal to that part of the world.
Right.
And he drops all his other coins through there, and he's got to go and get them back. So that's why they're in a car.
Yeah.
I know it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but you know what? It's fine. The kids loved it. There's nothing in it. Sometimes you can go and see a kids film, and there are a couple of nod and wink moments that are for adults. None of that is in this film,
Right, okay.
at all.
Okay.
But I can tell you something. I'm a lot happier with this Sonic design than I was with the previous bloody Sonic design, because that was a horror show.
But what a crazy precedent that set the power of internet fandom, that they could literally change the entire design of a character.
It's the world we live in, Nathan. It's the world we live in. Get used to it, my friend, because it's coming back.
But the speed at which it happened as well, I find shocking. It won't be long before it's much quicker than that.
Yeah, absolutely. When was that supposed to come out? That film was it towards the end of last year, maybe
Something
October
like that.
last year.
Yeah.
So it got bumped back 5 months or so.
Yeah, they could
5 or 6
redo a
months.
whole CGI in that time period. It's interesting.
It's a whole new world, Nathan. Whole new world.
What else do you see?
Well, I went to Harry Potter studio tour with my eldest 2 children on Friday last week, and
What a
it
great
was
experience.
fantastic. It's my second time going. It's my first time going since they've introduced Gringotts.
Oh yeah.
And I was very, very worried that they'd removed Diagon Alley, but they haven't.
Oh,
It's
okay.
still there. So basically, you go into Gringotts, and it's fantastic. And then there's a scene where you see the dragon escape from Gringotts,
Oh,
which
wow.
is in the
Cool. Yeah.
the last film. And then as you come out of Gringotts, it's like you're walking out of Gringotts into Diagon Alley. And
Right,
it's like,
okay.
how have they made this even better than I could possibly imagine? It's just a fantastic experience. It really is. And if you haven't been and you're a Harry Potter fan, for the love of God, go, because it's such a good time.
You have to book quite far in advance, don't you?
Yeah, we booked about 3 months in advance, I think.
And you have to book a time slot to go in.
Yeah,
But once you're in, you go around at your own pace. But like, there's a
That's
time
right.
slot for you to go in.
Yeah. And I had a butterbeer.
Oh.
It was the best thing I've put in my mouth in 2020.
Wow.
Thank you. So my daughter is actually going. My youngest daughter, who is 10, she'll be 11 in May, is going on a school trip at the end of towards the middle of this month.
Okay.
And she has read all the Harry Potter books, but she hasn't seen all the Harry Potter films.
She read them all now, has she?
She's read them all.
Wowza.
Yeah.
Okay.
Floods of tears and
Yeah,
consoling and
Mm.
oh my God, why did Dumbledore have to do that? And why did Snape? And oh my God, but Snape was actually good. All of that. Yeah.
I mean, she is a little person, though. Every time I see her, I'm like, you've grown by 12 years. Like, it's astonishing. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, well, she's going on the tour. She hasn't seen all the Harry Potter films, so we thought, do you know what? We should probably get her to watch all these films before she goes.
Yeah, now she's read the books, then there's no harm, right?
Exactly, no
Yeah.
harm at all. And because the tour is based off of the films,
Yes.
not the books,
Yeah.
some of the things from the films might be spoilt for her.
Yes, okay.
So
yeah.
whilst her mind's eye can picture it,
Yeah.
she won't have actually seen the prop that is actually there, that's actually been used in the film.
Sure.
So we watched Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is the one with the Triwizard Tournament.
Yes.
And Cedric Diggory gets killed at the end by
Batman.
He is Batman. He is now going to be Batman. You're absolutely right. Yeah. It's like, it's a circle.
Yeah, if only we'd put it
Circle.
right at the end.
I
No, wait,
know.
carry on.
Yeah. But
okay.
we've done that. And I think this weekend we're going to start in fact, actually tonight she might start the 5th one with...
Order of the Phoenix.
That's correct. Yes,
Yes,
that's the one.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
now, spoilers for the Order of the Phoenix. That book and film that came out, goodness knows how long ago. That's the one where Sirius Black dies at the end.
Yes, it is a bloated story.
The book is, I think, isn't it the biggest book?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the film though, and Grace very much likes Luna Lovegood from the
Okay.
books.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
she's going to very much like her.
Yeah, I can see.
in the
I can see
film.
that Grace would like Luna.
She's
yes.
going as Luna Lovegood
Of
for
course
World
she
Book Day
is.
tomorrow.
Of course she is.
There
yeah.
you go. So watch that.
My favourite is actually the Half-Blood Prince. So when she gets to that.
Now you see that is a very good book, but the film sucks balls. It's not a good film.
I
Don't care what anyone says.
I like both. I think that the story is really good.
Yeah.
So I think it translates anyway.
Okay, fine. Yes. Yeah, very good. Okay. There's something they did in the film for Half-Blood Prince is in the book after spoilers, Dumbledore has been killed. There's a huge battle leaving Hogwarts.
Yes, and it's tiny in the film, isn't
and
it?
it's tiny in the film because they don't want to take away from the last film where the
Yes.
Battle of Hogwarts takes place.
Yes, yeah.
And in the book, it's an incredibly tense battle, and Harry is raging at Snape, and he's going after, and it's effing brilliant. And then that's in the book, and then in the film, it's just it lasts for about 20 seconds. You're like, what the?
Yeah, but I think you've had the emotional, hit of them going to get the locket,
Yeah.
and then Dumbledore dying.
Yeah.
I can see why they cut it out. I can see pacing-wise that they cut it out. Works in the book, but anyway, we've
And it was all for naught because the locket wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so whilst I was up there, we had a little bit of time in the evening, and we went to see The Invisible Man. Wow. Really, really, really good film. It's not going to be part of the Dark universe.
It doesn't exist
It's its
anymore.
own
Yeah.
standalone thing. It's a Blumhouse film, so it's done not on the cheap. That's the wrong way to say it.
From a movie point of view.
I think the budget was like $7 million. It's turned around pretty quickly. It's got a fantastic writer and director in Lee Winnell, who's done other things that are good. I can't remember right now what. I'm
He
sure
did
you'll tell me.
Upgrade and
Yeah.
is he?
I think he's an Australian chap.
Australian.
I think he might be mates with the Weekly Planet or not. Anyway, doesn't matter. What I can say is that the film starts and the tension does not let go for the entire runtime. It is a solid, really enjoyable, really tense psychological thriller / horror film. And I really highly recommend it. And when I say horror film, I say horror because it's the Invisible Man, and that's
Yeah.
always been rooted in horror.
Yeah.
But it is not a scary oogie boogie man jumping out of the shadows to kill you with a knife or something like that.
It might be though.
It's really not. I think you would enjoy it. I really do. Or you'd hate it. But I loved it. I went to watch it with my daughter, who is 19, by the way. And literally, her knuckles were white the entire way through, and she was gripping the chair, like the arms of the chair. It was really, really good.
Okay.
And it was such a surprise. I saw the trailers and thought, this looks quite fun. I might enjoy this. And then just didn't think anything of it. And then realised it was out whilst we were up there, and that there was a View cinema.
Oh yeah.
Other cinema chains are available, like Picture House or Odeon. I saw it was out up there, and we were like a 2-minute car journey from the cinema.
Yeah.
And there was like a Frankie and Benny's next door as well. And
Nice.
the restaurant chains are available.
Yeah.
So we had something to eat, and then we went to see a film. And it was bloody great. Honestly, really great. And I think it's done quite well at the box office.
Elizabeth Moss is great. She's great.
Yes.
And again, on the Kermode and Mayo
Podcast.
podcast, they interviewed her, and she sounds incredibly down to earth.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of stars that get interviewed on there, you're like, okay, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting to hear you, but okay, you know.
I get it.
You're
yeah.
not. You don't know how much a pint of milk is, you know. But she sounds really down to earth. She sounds really interesting and really just wants to make good movies.
At this point, I should say, I believe she's a Scientologist, so she could have been programmed to be that
Oh,
way. She could be a robot.
the worst person on the planet then.
Oh well, hang on now. It's whatever religious beliefs she wants to have. They're up to her.
Are you
That's
sure
fine.
she's a Scientologist?
I don't know. She might be. I'm pretty sure she is. I'm sure if Wikipedia is right, I'm sure she is. You're going to look it up, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or you're going to hit the microphone over again. Oh no, I've mentioned it. The bit that I've cut out. Oh my God, to cut it out. Oh no.
When did Elizabeth Moss become a Scientologist?
The answer is
Oh.
Forever
Seems quite a
ago.
hypocrite. Oh no. What? Oh no. She was raised in Scientology.
Oh well, okay. Yeah,
Oh.
so she might not have had any choice.
Oh.
Listen. Someone's religion doesn't define them, okay? Doesn't define them as a person.
No.
And I can say that in this movie, she portrays the character exceptionally well. And very, very open-ended ending as well that leaves everything that happened before very much up in the air and open to interpretation. It gives you answers, but it doesn't give you enough information to make an absolute decision on what the actual answer is.
Isn't it doing a lot of good stuff in terms of the social issues as well? It's talking about.
Very much so.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a film starring Julia Roberts, early 90s, called Sleeping with the Enemy?
I'm aware of it. I haven't seen it, but yes, I'm aware of it,
Basically,
yeah.
this film is that.
But with the
the
Invisible Man.
enemy isn't a psychopathic Patrick Bergman with a great big mustache. He's the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very good.
I've also heard it lots of parallels with the film Gaslight, which is where the term gaslighting comes from, where you I hadn't heard of it before, but where you convince someone that something they already believe is wrong, or you change their opinion of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, by psychological manipulation.
Seriously?
Yeah,
You got to check this film out,
I feel
man.
like
It's
we should
really good.
psychologically manipulate JB in every way. It just feels like the right thing to do.
We haven't even discussed why he's not here tonight, have we? Do you know what?
Because his bits aren't sorted.
Okay. Right, I've got one more thing. I know
All
this
right.
is going on. I'm
Yeah.
really, really sorry.
Okay.
And I know I'm 10 years late to this party,
You are. Yeah.
but I just read The Complete Essex County by Jeff Lemire.
It's really good, isn't it?
No, it is absolutely incredible. And it's probably up there in the top 5 things I've ever read. And I'm going back to that thing you talked about earlier on. Yeah, I went to film school and you have to...
Yeah.
you
All
know,
that. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to be
yeah,
very
yeah,
concise.
yeah.
If you just show the perfect amount of what you need to. This is that book. Jeff Lemire, with very limited panels, conveys so much emotion, so much depth of feeling.
Yep.
It's just so good, and it's people living their life in Essex County,
Yeah.
which is in Ontario,
Yeah.
in Canada, and it's people working on a farm. It's a young boy living on a farm with his uncle after his mother died, and then it sort of skips back 50 years, and it's 2 brothers who may or may not in some way be related to that boy, and then it skips back 100 years,
Yep.
and it's the county nurse's grandmother as a nun looking after an orphanage of people who may or may not be related to the two brothers who are related to the son.
It's great.
It is absolutely spectacular, and I cried really hard at certain points in that book.
Yep.
And a comic book made me weep tears, pure tears. Now I know I cry at everything.
You do,
but
yeah,
this
yeah,
was
yeah.
I was flooding the place. It was like, my God, this is so sad.
And it's so efficient and economical with its content.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It says on the sleeve of the book, and I completely and utterly believe it to be true, when they start teaching at university level how to write a graphic novel, this will be studied.
Yeah.
And it will be held up with the esteem that it deserves, because it is fucking superb.
Scott Snyder used to do that. He used to teach people how to write comic books.
Well, there you go. Yeah. There you go. All I can say is that Jeff Lemire is a genius, and I read an awful lot of his stuff anyway, and I knew this was something that I should have read, and I thought, do you know what, I'll give it a try. It was on offer. The complete collection was on offer, and it's 3 stories, and each of those 3 stories are 3 issues each, and then there's a couple of extra short stories that come right at the end of it as well, which don't really tie into an awful lot, but they're very Essex County in their delivery. Oh, it's so good.
Have you read Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire?
No.
That's the next one to check out.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That little boy with antlers.
There's also another one about possibly an invisible man.
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called.
There's the diver one. Hang on. The underwater welder. You read
Okay,
that?
that's different to what I was
That's good as
talking
well.
about, but okay, yeah, all right. So basically, I need to read a lot more Jeff Lemire is what you're
Yeah.
saying. I mean, I already read, I read Descender, and I'm reading Ascender, and that's Jeff Lemire, and I'm reading Family Tree, that's Jeff Lemire, and I'm
It's like
reading...
me with Warren Ellis. It's just like I want to read all of Warren Ellis, basically. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about him, though, but Jeff Lemire seems to have experienced something in his life that's made him understand how to touch my soul.
He touches you.
He does, in a way that I've never been touched before, and I'm really enjoying it.
You've been semi-sexual throughout this podcast, I have to say.
Have I?
Yeah, about putting things in your mouth and being touched by Jeff Lemire.
The butterbeer.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, oh, all right, fine.
I think it's quite a high point to end on, to be honest.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We should end there.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell people where they can get in touch with us to tell us how stupid we are, what idiots we are?
Yes, they can do that on all the social medias. So Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Nerdschatting. You'll find us. This podcast is available on Podbean, so it's nerdschatting.podbean.com. It's also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube, youtube.com/nerdschatting. I think that's it.
We'd really, really appreciate it. If you've got to this point, if you just go and tell someone about us.
Tell someone about us. Give us a review. Send us an email, nerdschatting@outlook.com. That will give Nate something to read / forward on to me to read. Yeah, it would be great. I mean, if we start to get more reviews, we'll read them out on the podcast, and I don't know, we might give something away at some point for someone who does give us a nice review. And everyone who has already reviewed us, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. It's great.
Right. Well, no topic for today.
No, that's it for
We've
today.
talked probably enough. I mean, yeah, we definitely talked enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
And
this
you
is it.
smashed over the microphone as well. at
Yeah,
one
that was
point,
fun.
which
I enjoyed doing that. Yeah.
And I may or may not have edited that bit out.
Okay, cool. Right, good.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Thanks very much for tuning in. Goodbye.
Bye.
It goes, ooh la la, I see stars, I'm seeing stars, I'm seeing stars, seeing stars, I'm seeing stars, seeing stars, I'm seeing stars.
Don't care what anyone says.
I like both because. Oh my god! Just.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What have you just done? You just committed an absolute atrocity.
You're gonna cut that out, surely.
I'll do my best.
Okay.